Good evening, everybody. Welcome to FSU Weather Show for today. It's a beautiful day outside. Started out pretty cold, right, Ian?
Yeah, it's a happy Friday, but it started out definitely cold. In fact, a record low last night for Tallahassee and really much of the East.
Yeah, 22 degrees recorded at the airport, 28 degrees in town. That's a record low for this day of the year, and a lot of records are set across the entire United States today, huh?
Yeah, exactly. In fact, there were 72 daily record lows over the night.
Yeah, everywhere between Cincinnati and Tampa, Florida, we had New York, Baltimore, all setting record lows.
Miami even.
Miami, wow, yeah, they usually stay pretty warm. And 453 records were set this week through Sunday and Wednesday.
Yeah, so really the theme of the week, we had a cold, cold night, and really we've been dealing with a lot of cold temperatures so far this winter.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, we'll see maybe a little bit of change coming here, but we'll explain a little bit more about the rest of the show there.
Absolutely. I'm excited about this weekend.
Quite a different week for you this week than last week. Last week we had a bunch of clear weather. We're going to see the clouds come at you this week.
Yeah, but we are going to have a lot to talk to you about in this show, especially coming to you with some change in weather, a warming up trend for this weekend especially.
Yeah, and as well as the West is a lot different than the East right now. We're going to cover a lot more of that coming in the next few segments of the show. Ian, you're going to take a little overview of the rest of the show, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So this weekend, like I said, we had a cold night last night with temperatures dipping in the 20s for much of the southeast. And that is expected again for tonight. Not quite as cold, but you can expect another cold night. And as we move on into the weekend, we have a big change coming for you. Warm temperatures. We may even see temperatures in the 70s, high 70s in fact. So brace yourself to not be so cold. So I know I'm excited about it. Hopefully you are as well. So we have cold temperatures, or warmer temperatures expected this weekend. And into Sunday, we're going to start to notice a bit more rain moving in as we have another system. In fact, over the week, for upcoming week, we might have a wetter week for you. So, wetter week for next week and a cold start to your Monday as well. As you look at the satellite and radar, you can see some clouds moving in from the north, and that is what is going to be pushing in overnight, keeping our temperatures a little bit warmer than it was. Current temperatures right now shows that they're dipping off already, 53 degrees. Very cold for us there. And as we look at tonight's forecast, 35 degrees with partly cloudy skies. So a cold night is expected for you there. But we are going to move it on back to the desk where we have something to talk about with looking into the Middle East, where we have a cold weather there as well. Some unexpected stuff for you.
Other parts of the world have weather too. So a big snowstorm moved into the Middle East, starting in Istanbul, Turkey, moving down through Syria, Israel, all the way making it way to Jordan, and this is the second big storm they've seen this year.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't really typically expect them, when you imagine the Middle East, you think dry, desertous conditions, but they in fact do get very cold, and they see systems that bring snowfall at this time of the year.
What's happening in Alaska right now, Ian?
Right now in Alaska, in fact, their temperatures there are 40 degrees plus to what they normally expect. So they have warm conditions over there. So really a lot of unexpected things happen in weather, and it changes every day.
Yeah, Alaska, they're seeing well above average, and it's really warm for the rest of the West. But right now, let's have Nikki tell us a little bit about local weather.
We're going to talk more about that westerly weather actually in the next desk segment too, but we're going to go ahead and bring things back home right now. Looking at our low temperatures today. 22 degrees in Tallahassee. We had a record-breaking low overnight last night. Definitely quite chilly out there. If you were out for maybe a night on the town, you saw those cold conditions. You saw those dry conditions too. Look at this dew point. We are in the single digit, folks. It is very dry outside. You're probably feeling that with, your skin, seeing a little bit of crackling maybe. Bring out that lotion, bring out that chapstick. Definitely keep the moisture in as much as you can because it is definitely dry out in Tallahassee tonight. Currently, right now, though, we're sitting at 53 degrees as you're sitting down for dinners and partly cloudy skies. And much of the Big Bend is actually seeing these 50s across much of the area. Down to the coast, we can see we're in the upper 40s, and off to my east in Perry, also sitting at 52. So we're staying in the mid-50s, which is quite chilly for this time right now tonight. And it will continue to drop as the night goes in, and then we'll see a nice warming trend moving into the later half of this weekend. Looking at these dew points, though, like I said, things are dry. Down the coast, you're seeing a little bit more of the moisture, but off into most of the Big Bend area, you see 9 also in Thomasville and Quincy. So it's dry out there. It's not going to get any wetter until the beginning of next week when we start to see that next weather maker move into the area with that moisture increase, and we're also going to see some rain in the picture later on into the beginning of the next work week. Right now, though, we're seeing a big bubble of high pressure, really nothing in the sky, quite clear conditions. You might have seen a contrail or two from maybe an airplane that passed by, but really just nice blue skies out there for you today. Looked quite nice, so you can see that with the satellite and radar. But moving on into the winds, this is what's really telling the big story. So you see we have this easterly wind coming on out across much of the area right now, but that'll be changing. You see this shift in winds. We start to get some flow up from the Gulf of Mexico. There we go. And you can actually see this warming trend, which is what we're going to be experiencing. So Saturday, tomorrow, we're going to reach a high of 67. We're going to warm up quite nicely. And actually, Sunday will also have these warmer conditions. You can start to see the shift in terms of where the winds are coming out of the south and then starting to come in out of the northwest. And that'll be associated with that cold front that'll be moving on in. That'll be happening in the beginning of next week when we start to see, once again, another cool down after this warmed up on Sunday. So it's going to be looking nice this weekend. For tonight's forecast, though, bringing it back down to 35 degrees, chilly conditions outside, and our winds are going to be coming out of the east-southeast at 5 miles per hour. For tomorrow, though, great day to get outside. If you have something planned, it's going to be beautiful outside. 70 degrees, chilly morning. It'll be quite breezy in the afternoon, though, so I know I'm going out for a hike tomorrow. It's going to be great. Get outside, do some fun stuff. 7-day forecast looking great as well. We're going to see those rain chances move back into the picture, though, at the beginning of the next work week. And it'll be looking quite nice. I'm pretty excited about it. What about you, Tyler?
Oh, I'm definitely excited. It's definitely going to be a lot warmer than it was today. I mean, if you went outside today, you really felt the punch as far as the temperatures go, and that will be, that will be changing as we go into the weekend. But right now, let's look at the satellite. You can see right now we have actually had a little bit of a snow and ice storm up in North Alabama and North Mississippi. That fortunately won't be coming down here, but if you are going up to Atlanta for the weekend or maybe Nashville, Tennessee, you might have to deal with some wet roads and slick conditions there. But here's the real story. The winds, as Nikki said, are coming out of the south and southeast. That has actually had the temperatures warm today. It's 10 degrees warmer right now than it was 24 hours ago in Tallahassee. And you don't really think of mid-50s as warm, but that was really how Arctic the air mass was around the region. Right now, it's 53 degrees in Tallahassee. Remember, that was pretty close to our high today. The average high for this time of year is in the upper 60s to right around 70 degrees. It was a little bit warmer down south in Miami, 65 degrees, but even there, it was in the 40s. And you can see upper 20s and lower 30s over the rest of the southeast. That's where the snow and ice storm is possible. But right now, look how dry it is, even across the state. 9 is the dew point in Tallahassee, even 28 in Orlando. That's very dry for them. You can almost see where the trail of cold and dry weather has started, but now that the wind has shifted, it will become much warmer. Right now in Leon County, we have a red flag advisory. Up in North Georgia, in the Tennessee area, we have an ice storm warning and a winter storm watch and winter storm warnings up there. So if you are going up to North Georgia, maybe going for some skiing, you would enjoy that, but otherwise, be careful on the roads. It will be a little bit warmer, and here's what I mean. Right now, we have the mix around Memphis and most of the Mid-South, more snow around Huntsville, Alabama, and Nashville, Tennessee. This will go into Atlanta. Hopefully, it won't be that bad for the evening commute. And going out in the southeast, really dry conditions across Florida and mainly all of the southeast. And so for tonight, 34 degrees in Tallahassee. There might be a freeze in some outlying locations, 18 degrees in Wilmington. And tomorrow, much warmer, 70 degrees in Tallahassee and even 50s in the Mid-South. But now let's send it back to the desk.
Hey, thank you. You know, when we're talking about the weather, we really have to look at everywhere around the world. And right now, it's not winter in the southern hemisphere. They're dealing with summer conditions. And what comes with summer? Oh, tropical storms.
Tropical storms, yeah. Right now, tropical cyclone Bonsai, or Bonsi, however you pronounce it, in the Indian Ocean formed earlier this week right off the coast of Madagascar. Brought them some rain.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we deal with systems that come off of Africa all the time during the summer, but they have one that came off of Madagascar. And it right now is going to be seeing some very fast winds, over 150 miles an hour, but that will be quickly moving off into the open ocean and not really having a major impact.
Yeah, and before it kind of got away from Madagascar, gave them about 10 inches of rain. That's plenty of rain. They measure it in millimeters down there. But by Wednesday to Tuesday, we might see that storm become Category 5, what we would call that here.
Yeah.
But they don't use that same scale in the Indian Ocean.
Yeah, it is a different scale for them, but still just as powerful as winds. But we're going to send it off to Casey with more at the wall.
Thanks so much, guys. Taking a look at those temperature changes across our nation over the last 24 hours, we do see that it has warmed up significantly. 19 degrees warmer than yesterday at this time in Kansas City. 15 degrees warmer sitting in toward Minneapolis. 12 degrees in New Orleans. Most of the eastern half of the country seeing warmer conditions than they did yesterday. Poor conditions out toward Denver and Salt Lake. Not too big of a factor, though, in toward those areas. Now, going ahead and taking a look at what's going on at this hour, we see that in Tallahassee, we're pretty warm considering what we've been seeing. 53 here, but much to the north and east, they're sitting much cooler. 11 in Detroit, in fact, and we'll get a little bit closer here. And as we do so, we see 11 degrees right now in Detroit. Very cool. It's just downright cold in those areas. 10 degrees in Cleveland, 1 in Buffalo, 19 in New York. Very cool weather conditions for those areas. It's warmer, though, than some of these areas have been seen. Some of these areas seeing temperatures in those negative numbers, in fact. Now, your water vapor imagery does really tell the story here, as we have a jet stream park over the southern part of the nation. And in fact, we see that really kind of bringing in the cooler air toward parts of the south and eastern half of the country. We're seeing those temperatures warm up, though, as we get in toward your weekend. Now, going ahead and kind of getting a little bit more in depth with this, we see the satellite and radars. You can see the cloud conditions in the southern or western part of the country, northern and central part of Minneapolis, getting into some snowy conditions, Detroit. But what I want to focus on is really the southern snowy conditions that are occurring here in toward northern Alabama, northern Georgia. We're talking about Huntsville. Also up towards Scottsboro, Alabama, Rome, Georgia, getting into some of this light to moderate snow here. And this could have some impacts if the temperatures fall later this evening in toward those areas. Nashville, Tennessee, also being impacted as well by some of this light to moderate snow, even some mixy conditions as we get a little bit closer toward Birmingham. Now, Green Bay right now, we see that they're starting to get a little bit out of the snow, but some of it's building back a little bit as we get to the west of there, not far from Wausau, Wisconsin as well. Now, going further toward the west, we see Billings. There's some snow showers around here, Pocatello, Idaho. Snow showers around Seattle as well in toward those areas. Winter storm warnings here. We're seeing some pretty serious conditions in terms of accumulation. Also, the pink here, a winter storm warning much of the eastern and central eastern part of the country. Also, an ice storm warning for Nashville. Some serious conditions if you're headed up that way in terms of some wintry precipitation in toward those areas. But tonight, 57 in Dallas. Tallahassee still get kind of cool. 34 degrees there, nice and cool here across our area. To getting into toward tomorrow, 67 in Dallas. Tallahassee sitting a little bit warmer, 70 degrees here. But right now, I'll go ahead and take it over to Tom with a closer look toward our area.
All right, bring it back home a little bit. Today, we broke a record low temperature for today. 22 degrees reported at the airport there. 43 is the average, and 27 was the record for today, and we broke that right out of the water. Local sitting right around 53 degrees in Tallahassee, 53 Wilma. Pretty consistent. A little cooler by the coast right now, interesting enough. We see those winds coming out of the southwest right now, or southeast right now, sorry. And so we're going to see those temperatures start to climb up a little bit. It's not going to be quite as cold as we were the past 2 nights here, but we're still going to be a little chilly with those afternoons warming up nice with that southerly wind coming off of the Gulf of Mexico. Radar, nothing really much, just some noise. A couple little blips from a control burn here and there. If you look there, that's just normal. The smoke catches up on the radar there for us. We're taking a bigger picture here. Clear in the sunshine state of Florida, like always. Not so much, but and a little bit of snow coming through the northern parts of Alabama and Georgia. Soon to move into South Carolina for you there. It's looking to be pretty nice with this low pressure system building right over Texas. And it's going to move right Texarkana region right there. And it's going to build a warm front. It's going to bring some moisture and precipitation possibly towards us. For the end of this weekend into the week, we're going to see that warm front pass, and those temperatures are really going to warm up daytime. And as this cold front approaches, we're going to see those temperatures kind of dip, bring some more rain. We're going to see a cloudy, rainy week for you this week. Right now, wind, southeast wind, 10 to 15 knots at you, with gusts up to 20 knots. Waves 3 to 4 feet, occasionally 5 feet. So you might want to watch out if you're going out on a small craft, maybe a small sailboat or something. Just be safe there. Practice good sailing practices at sunrise, 7:12 a.m. Early bird gets the worm if you're going fishing tomorrow. Tonight we're looking at 35 degrees, a little bit warmer, right? Almost 10 degrees warmer than last night. And with a wind from the east-southeast, it's mostly south there. They're mostly easterly right there, 5 miles an hour. We're going to see that shift a little bit more to the south as we come through the end of the week here. For tomorrow, looking at 70 degrees. Sunshiny, 70 degrees, sunny, breezy afternoon there. Pretty breezy, actually. Winds coming from 15, maybe gusts up to 30 miles an hour. That's quite windy for you. But let's take a look at the week ahead. Cloudy, cloudy, rain, cloudy, cloudy, rain, rain, rain all week. We're going to see those highs come up into the 70s by the end of the weekend, into the 60s for the most of the week, and the lows staying into the low 50s and into the low 40s as we go later into the week there for you. But let's have a nice week there for you, like always, and we're going to send it over to the desk with Nikki and Tyler for some fun stories.
Thank you, Tom. We're going to go ahead and hop right into our fun stories, too. We're going to talk about the West, right?
Yeah, the West is actually very warm for this time of the year. Alaska, as was previously mentioned, is over 40 degrees above average, and actually portions of Alaska were warmer than Tallahassee was this morning.
Which is kind of crazy to think, because you always hear like, oh, no one wants to live in Alaska because it's just so cold, but that's actually not the case. And much of the western half of the United States has been seeing these conditions the first 3 weeks of February. And
those conditions will actually move eastward as time goes on. That's where we're expecting a very warm weekend with highs in the 70s.
Which I'm happy about the warm-up because I'm kind of getting a little bit tired of the cold air, to be honest.
Yeah, and as you stepped out the door this morning, it was almost like a punch to the gut because it was so cold.
It was way too cold, but that's okay. We're going to talk a little bit more about how cold it's really been. We'll look around. Actually, you know what? We're going to wait just 1 second. I want to tell you one more fun fact. It is actually going to be getting cold the last week of February.
I've heard that. We're in a general sort of pattern where it's going to be very wet, and also because of the wetness, it will also be cooler than normal. And so now we're going to send it back to the desk and the wall.
That's right. Let's get right into these Florida temperatures, and we see 24 here toward Jacksonville. In fact, it got down to here, though. The coolest spot in the state in terms of big cities, 22 degrees in Tallahassee. Even down towards southern and central Florida, very unusual to get this cool. 34 Orlando, 34 Tampa as well. Very cool conditions. Again, records being set here in Tallahassee, in fact, and in many locations across the state in terms of those lows. 53 right now here in the metro area we're sitting at this hour. Now, Jacksonville, very interesting to see this. 11 degrees cooler than Tallahassee. We don't normally see this. We're kind of getting a situation where the temperatures are cooler in the northern eastern part of Florida than they are here and towards southeast Georgia as well. Southern and central Florida sitting much warmer than they were this morning, though, still in those 50s and 60s. Now your 24-hour temperature change, we're seeing warmer conditions, and that's a welcome change for our area. Seeing much warmer conditions than we've been seeing over the last couple of days. Those temperatures in the 40s, not fun to deal with. Record low highs being set across the state, but that's changing here across our area. Now going ahead and getting into toward that satellite and radar, no precipitation in the state here, Tallahassee. Few clouds just to our north and towards southwest Georgia near Thomasville and Bainbridge, but not too much of a factor. Way up to the north out of Florida, Alabama, getting into towards some snowy conditions, but again, not too big of a factor, not that close toward us, talking about Birmingham and to the north, where we're seeing more of that ice and snow affecting them pretty significantly. 8 miles an hour, in fact, that wind in Jacksonville at this hour, 6 in Tallahassee. 15, a little gusty there in Pensacola, but again, not too big of a deal. It's making those temperatures, though, feel a little bit cooler across the state here than what you would be normally seeing if the winds were calm. Of course, having that wind chill being factored in, bringing those temperatures down just a few degrees and making it more toward needing some jackets as you're going out this evening. Now your futurecast winds and temperature, this tells a story here. Very cool conditions, even cooler towards southwest Georgia. The blue and white tells a story with very cool conditions here. We also see some winds affecting us as well, and those temperatures getting those orange and yellows. We're seeing 60s and 70s here across our area. Nice conditions, cool temperatures though as we get in toward your Sunday morning, but nothing like we've been seeing, talking about 40s and 50s here across our part of the state. And getting later in towards Sunday, we see those temperatures warming up even more, approaching 80 down towards central Florida. Tonight, 32 in Jacksonville, 34 in Tallahassee, and tomorrow, seeing those temperatures, 70s, getting a little warmer, though almost 80 in toward the Miami area. But right now, we'll go ahead and kind of take it over more to a winter weather segment with Jonathan.
Yeah, look at this picture here. We're going to go across the northern part of the country here. This is actually a satellite picture that was taken from space. This is all snow and ice across the center part of the country here. Look at this down towards the south. You can actually see the ground there, and that's the only part of the ground that you can see down towards the south. Everywhere else covered in ice, snow, and sleet across the center part of the country. And there's more snow coming across that same part of the country here. Snowing in Nashville, snowing in Huntsville right now, snowing also up into Michigan. Same story here. Lake Michigan, the only lake that is completely unfrozen right now. And this is going to be the story for the next day or so, with a lot more snow falling across the lower Ohio River Valley. Right now, Boston is clear for the first time in a couple of days, but that won't last for too much longer. We've got snow coming off of Lake Michigan, coming down into northern Indiana, down and moving into Detroit by tonight. That's going to head off towards the east, afflicting Boston once again. But really the big story across the south is going to be a developing low pressure system that is developing just to the east of Dallas right now, bringing in sleet and freezing rain for the Memphis area down into the Huntsville region. Rain right now in Mississippi, and this is actually going to be a warm system. Now, you wouldn't associate warm with the word snow, but that's what they're going to be talking about across the northern part of the country. Here, let's talk about these warnings. Freezing rain advisory here, or freezing rain warning here in Nashville. They're worried about a ½ inch of ice. That's damaging ice that'll bring down the power poles as well as those trees in central Tennessee. Winter weather advisory for most of the Northeast here, all the way up into the Pittsburgh region, into central Pennsylvania, Penn State there, worrying about upwards of 4 inches of snow there. Some places in Kentucky where they already have a foot of snow on the ground, going to add another 6 inches, but nothing close to anything like here in Boston. This is the Boston commute there, waiting for the train in downtown Boston. Waist high, some places shoulder high snow there in downtown Boston, getting to school and work there in Boston. But take a look at this model here. We're talking about the freezing rain and the snow across most of the north and east. But as we head off towards the north, there's the snow in the Ohio River Valley, and this is going to head up towards the north. They're actually going to be talking about freezing rain and some rain up in Boston over the next couple of days. But it's going to clear out by the late part of the weekend. But the next storm system is off on the horizon already. Back there, just waiting to come into the southeast. That's going to come in for the mid to late part of this week, and that's going to be our story for the next week. As Tom said earlier, it's going to be rain and clouds pretty much all of next week. Now, we're going to be talking about some gas prices now. We've had a lot of cold weather. How does that really affect the gas prices?
The gas prices are actually dropping, so you can tell they've been near $2 a gallon. But as we warm up, they go into a different blend, which actually will raise the price as we go into the spring months.
That's right. Actually, spring and summer are the most expensive gas months, just because the blends that are required to make the gas during the summertime is actually more expensive to make, which is why the gas prices are oftentimes higher.
Which almost coincides with spring. The gas prices spring like the clocks do in the spring, and they fall back during the fall and the winter.
There you go. So you just follow your clock, and your clock will pretty much tell you when the gas prices will be rising and falling.
Yes.
That's a good
Almost
point.
like the stock market.
Very true.
Yeah.
So that's right. If you guys are planning on, doing some summer vacations or whatever, your gas prices will be rising a tad bit compared to what we saw this previous winter.
Yes. And that's mainly the pattern that goes on most of the year, but with some exceptions. So now we're going to toss it back to Casey.
It's actually me, Tyler, but we have something to talk about. We have increasing clouds that you're going to be noticing over the next couple hours or so, but what you're also going to be noticing is that temperature once again is going to start dipping as we're going to expecting some cold temperatures tonight. Very dry as well. In fact, this is the current dew point. That dew point really signifies how dry it really is. If you have over 70, that's when you're really noticing that stickiness. But you can see here we're not even close to the 70s. 9 in Tallahassee, you have 21 in St. Mark's, 25 down in Carabel. You have 9 over in Perry, 6 in Valdosta. So very, very dry conditions. Hopefully you're putting on some chapstick because you're going to be dealing with some chapped lips with this weather, especially with that wind in there. Currently on campus, it's 53 degrees, partly cloudy skies with that low dew point once again and humidity. So very cool right now, and it'll be continuing to drop as that sun starts to set, which will be seeing some cold temperatures. Not quite as cold as you saw last night, but still it's going to be a cold night for you there. Now, if you have any plans on going on the water on tomorrow, you can see those winds are going to be up there with gusts up to 20 miles per hour with that 3 to 4 foot choppy water. So really not the best conditions for out in the water. It's going to be a warmer day, but still going to be a choppy one. So there's a small craft advisory out there for you there. Futurecast temperatures, you're going to see those temperatures starting to really dip off as we start at 7 o'clock tonight. You can see it's going to go from 42 down to 28 down here in Tallahassee. So cold temperatures overnight. You can see Miami's a little bit warmer at 68. We have 59 in Pensacola, but 38 in Tampa. So very cold night for much of the area tonight. But you're going to notice a difference for tomorrow as we have a warming trend ahead associated with the system moving on. Saturday at 2 p.m., high of 73 in Tampa, 67 in Tallahassee. So warm conditions for us there. 74 in Orlando, 74 in Fort Myers. Overall warmer conditions for much of the southeast, which I'm sure most people are very excited about this. I sure am. 57 Sunday morning in Tallahassee, 59 in Tampa, and those temperatures are going to increase even more as we're going to see up to 75 in Tallahassee. So very, very nice conditions. 78 in Tampa, 78 in Fort Myers, but this is going to be short-lived, really only here for the weekend, these warm temperatures, and you're going to notice a change as we move on into the rest of the week. Overnight tonight, Tallahassee, 35 degrees with those partly cloudy skies. It's going to be a chilly one. You might want to bundle up and put an extra layer or two because it will be cold once again. But that will be short-lived, and we will be dealing with some warmer temperatures. For tomorrow, if you have any outdoor plans, it really is a great day. You can see we start the morning a little bit on the chilly side, but that quickly warms up. By the time we hit noon, 59 degrees. With that beautiful afternoon, 4 o'clock, 68 degrees. It's going to be a great afternoon. Really take advantage of this weekend because it might be the last warm we can see for a while. And as we look on into the rest of the week, you can see 70 is our start for the weekend. As we start to move on, there's a system moving on through Saturday night, which is going to be getting us to be a little bit more wet outside, and those temperatures are going to drop again, and we're going to be dealing with a wet and cooler week ahead. So take advantage of the warm week because that's the last we're going to be seeing of the warmth for a while. But we're going to be throwing it back to the wall with more.
Thank you, Ian. I'm sorry that my brain took a 5-minute vacation. But now we're going to talk about the 7-day forecast. It's very cold. It's going to be very cold tomorrow. It's going to be about 10 degrees warmer, though, so at least we're not talking about a freeze. But rain's coming back next week.
Yeah, we have rain moving right back into the picture. You can see that Sunday we have 30%, and as we move all the way into Wednesday, we're going to bump things back up to 50%. But the rain should be settling by about Thursday, so.
Yes, so it should not impact our weekend. At least that's the way it looks right now. We'll fine-tune that as we get into next week.
Yeah, but that'll be good. So we have those two systems passing through next week. So stay tuned for that. You'll have to tune in next week on Monday to check out what exactly is going on.
Yes, this is just like a free preview for the actual show next week.
There you go. That's right. A little bit of a teaser for them,
yes.
Right? So, but you can also go ahead and like us on Facebook, do all the cool social media things, or follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSU Weather.
And you can also watch us anytime on livestream.com/FSU Weather. For FSU Weather, I'm Tyler Harten.
And I am student meteorologist Nikki Perrini, and we're going to go ahead and give you the latest on what kind of weather will be happening next week. So tune in next Monday at 6 p.m., right?
At 6 p.m. sharp. We'll be there waiting for you.
Waiting for you. Have a good night.